massive grey beard, big boots, humongous hands, hands of a farmer for sure, but those hands did something slightly different. That was the point at which he introduced magic to me. Now for you, these are probably just a normal deck of playing cards, but in actual fact it was that split-second reaction you gave to something slightly unexpected, and that reaction was probably your most honest reaction with me. That is absolutely perfect, because it just almost means that the ice between us melts.
And the ice has melted.
That is the beauty of magic, but let's take a couple of steps back to when I first met magic. When I was 11 or 12 years old, I was sat in assembly and this man walked in, cowboy hat, massive grey beard, big boots, humongous hands, hands of a farmer for sure, but those hands did something slightly different. He got a piece of rope and he cut that rope in half, to the point I could see two split ends. And then he restored it again, whilst also explaining the importance of restoring friendship. And for me, I went crazy. Whilst I was a quiet and shy person, in that moment I went crazy. That was the point at which he introduced magic to me. Fast forward 1 week and I see him again and I'm like, how do you do it? How do you do it? And he sits me down in the courtyard and he does something slightly peculiar. He pinches his nose, pop, and he grabs out a sponge ball. And with that sponge ball, he asks me to take out my hand, and he places that sponge ball into my hand and he snaps his fingers and suddenly 2 sponge balls appear. And I was absolutely shocked. I was like, how did you do that? And at that very moment he explained a couple of things, and he also gave me the sponge balls to take away. Ever since, that door to magic completely opened up, and week on week I'd be practicing card tricks, to the point even when I was finishing school I performed a very last and final magic trick, which was I made cards disappear into thin air and also made balls appear out of nowhere. For a talent show, I was asked to perform a magic trick, and obviously I didn't know I was going to perform a magic trick until 2 days before. And so I decided to go for this torn and restored card trick, and where I got, card and I ripped it in half, and then I'd rip it again, and then rip it again, to the point I dropped all the cards. And then obviously I had people saying, oh, fail, or whatever. And so I still continued, me being me, and I was like, okay, let's just fast forward to the actual meaty bit of the trick. And I put the card into my hand like that. And what I did was, I blew on it, to the point it completely restored. And it was at that moment as well that I realized no matter what people say, still work towards your goal, because it takes 2 to 3 seconds for someone to say something nasty, but it's probably taken you 3 or 4 months of practice to work towards that goal. Now, last year I met up with an ophthalmologist and we were at this conference and I was speaking to him, and he revealed that he was also a magician, which I found, quite amazing. I was like, that's so cool. And I asked him this question: does learning or even doing illusions actually help you within your clinic? And he goes, yes, it does, to the point where he's able to make a patient feel comfortable. He can also decipher what the patient might be feeling, and also assess the level of presence someone might have. So when you actually perform a magic trick, how much an individual pays attention also can show how much is going on in their mind. That, or they're just bored. Now, one of the other key things I usually take away from practicing and doing illusions is actually the communication. Being able to communicate clearly what I would want from the audience, whilst also making sure that I don't communicate what I am also doing and seeing at the same time. And it's almost having a dual communication, in the sense that you're communicating to the audience, but you're also communicating to yourself as to what you need to do next. Now, as you've seen, that magic has taught me a lot of new skills and things that I can implement in my day-to-day life. Hopefully by now you know that there is more to than what the eye can see when it comes to magic trick. Obviously you see the magic trick, but in actual fact there's so much more that is actually happening on behind the scenes. So hopefully you like this video, and if you do, then please do subscribe and don't forget to share. And until next time, I don't know what I'm going to do.